What if the system you grew up criticizing wasn't broken at all? What if the truth about India's education system isn't that it failed us, but that we fail to see what it's really built for? Everyone says Indian schools are outdated. Exams kill creativity. Colleges are just factories. But here's the twist. What if that's only half the truth? This video isn't about blaming the system. It's about understanding it, where it came from, how it evolved, and what's really going on behind the scenes. Because once you see the full picture, you'll never say failure again. Let's rewind. The Indian education system is one of the largest in the world. Over 15 lakh schools, 1,000 plus universities, and 315 million students enrolled today. That's bigger than the entire population of the United States. And it started with one idea: knowledge should be free. From Nalanda and Takshashila in ancient times to government schools in every rural block, India believed learning shouldn't belong to just the elite. Yes, British-era education prioritized obedience and English-speaking clerks. But post-independence, we rewrote the script. In 1968, India introduced its first national education policy, focused on making education universal, democratic, and scientific. And today, we're living through the most ambitious reform ever, the NEP 2020. This is not a system stuck in the past. It's one trying to sprint into the future. India didn't become the world's IT hub by accident. We produce more engineers, scientists, and coders than most developed nations combined. And guess what? Over 1 in 10 doctors in the U.S. is Indian. Top CEOs, Google, Microsoft, Adobe, all pass through Indian classrooms. Indian students consistently top international math and science Olympiads. So no, our schools aren't just churning out laborers. They're creating global leaders. The IITs and IIMs are recognized worldwide. Institutions like ISC, ISB, and Ashoka are pushing research, liberal arts, and cutting-edge tech. And don't forget, India launched a Mars mission for less than the cost of a Hollywood movie. That's what this failing system has produced. But let's be honest. Success stories don't mean everything's perfect. Yes, rote learning still exists. Yes, exam pressure is real. And yes, many schools still lack basic infrastructure. But that's not a system failure. That's an access challenge. India is a country of extremes. While urban kids code robots, rural kids walk miles to reach school. The system isn't broken. It's uneven. The real problem isn't education. It's equity. We're not fighting a lack of ideas. We're fighting a lack of implementation in the last mile. Now, let's bust the biggest myth of all. Marks decide your future. Not anymore. Today, we have National Skill Development Mission, Startup India, AICT internships, digital learning platforms like Swayam, NPTEL, Byju's, and Khan Academy in Hindi and regional languages. Students today can build careers without a degree, without a 90% scorecard, and without coaching. Coding, design, freelancing, YouTube, stock trading. These are mainstream for India's Gen Z. Even the government is changing track. NEP 2020 focuses on multidisciplinary learning, coding from class 6, no rigid subject streams, vocational training, mother tongue-based education till grade 5. This isn't a factory anymore. It's a launch pad. Let's talk about the real stars. In Jharkhand, tribal girls are being taught AI using solar-powered tablets. In Ladakh, teachers hike mountains to bring education to border villages. In Mumbai, a local teacher created YouTube videos during lockdown and reached 4 lakh students nationwide. This isn't failure. This is silent innovation. India's education system is evolving, not just through policy, but through people. Here's something no one talks about. All over the world, education systems are under pressure. In the U.S., student debt has crossed $1.7 trillion. In the U.K., 3 out of 5 graduates work jobs unrelated to their degree. In China, exam pressure has led to national burnout. It's not just India. The whole world is figuring out what education should look like in the 21st century. But India, we have an edge. Our population is young. Our culture values learning. And we've already leapfrogged in digital infrastructure. We're not late. We're right on time and just getting started. So, where do we go from here? Invest in teachers, empower them with tools, tech, and training. Redesign assessments, move from memory to creativity. Bridge rural-urban gaps. Satellite schools, AI tutors, hybrid learning. Make skilling aspirational. Welding, design, coding, culinary arts. Everything counts. Normalize failures. Education must celebrate learning, not punish mistakes. And most of all, let students choose. Let them explore, switch, try, fail, and grow. Because the future doesn't belong to the perfect. It belongs to the curious. And here's the bigger picture. Education isn't just about individual success. It's about nation building. A well-educated India means more informed voters, more responsible citizens, more innovation, less poverty, less discrimination, less dependency. The ROI on education is generational. When a girl goes to school, the entire village rises with her. When a student learns to code, they don't just get a job, they create jobs. The ripple effect is endless. We also need to rethink how we view intelligence. Intelligence isn't just solving equations. It's asking better questions. It's fixing a leaking tap. It's caring for patients. It's building a business from nothing. We must break the mental barrier that only academic toppers succeed. The world is full of success stories that were born outside of classrooms, like Dhirubhai Ambani, who never went to college, like Kira Mazumdar-Shaw, who started Biocon from her garage, like Kalpana Saroj, a Dalit woman who became a business tycoon. Proof that education plus courage is unstoppable. But let's go deeper. Let's talk about the parents, the silent backbone of our education system. Waking up early, packing lunches, juggling 2 jobs just to afford a good school. Their sacrifice deserves recognition. Let's talk about teachers in flood-prone Assam who teach in boats, about educators in drought-hit Bundelkhand who teach under trees, about volunteers in Kashmir, risking their lives to keep classrooms running. Let's talk about students who build bridges out of bamboo to attend school, who share one device among 5 siblings just to attend a Zoom class, who walk 10 kilometers every day to chase a dream. Because these stories, these are what define Indian education. Let's talk about innovation. Indian edtech is booming. Companies like Byju's Unacademy, Vedantu, they're not replacing schools. They're complementing them. They're reaching the unreachable. Let's talk about NEP's vision for 2040. A child unless studying astrophysics online. A girl in Manipur choosing between AI and fashion design. A boy in Dharavi learning robotics in his local language. That's not a fantasy. That's our future. Let's reframe the conversation. From how do we fix education to how do we co-create it? From why are schools failing to how can we all help them succeed? Parents, teachers, NGOs, startups, government. It's time to collaborate, not criticize. India's education system isn't just a subject in the news. It's a movement in the making. So, is India's education system a failure? No. It's a system that's massive, messy, and miraculous. It taught 300 million students during a pandemic. It sent minds to Mars. It built unicorns from middle-class homes. It's not a factory. It's a foundry, forging the next generation of problem solvers, artists, scientists, and dreamers. Education is not just about answers. It's about learning how to ask better questions. And India, we've just begun asking the right ones. Because when education is seen not as a burden, but as a tool of transformation, that's when the real magic begins. It's not about replacing tradition. It's about evolving it. It's not about westernizing knowledge. It's about Indianizing opportunity. As Swami Vivekananda said, education is the manifestation of perfection already in man. India's classrooms, from metro cities to tribal hamlets, are discovering that perfection one curious child at a time. And that is the story worth telling. Not a failure, but a future being written every day, right here in India. And here's one final truth. Education isn't only what happens in a classroom. It's every life lesson you learn outside it. It's teamwork on the cricket field. It's discipline from catching an early bus. It's empathy from helping a friend. So let's never forget. India's education system is not just about exams or grades. It's about building character. And character? That's what makes a nation truly unstoppable. Let's invest in curiosity. Let's believe in potential. Let's write the next chapter. Together. Because the world's next great idea, invention, or leader is probably sitting in an Indian classroom right now, waiting, dreaming, and daring to learn. And if you're still wondering what role you can play in this journey, remember this. Support your local schools. Even a book donated can change someone's life. Volunteer your time or skills, mentoring, career guidance, or even storytelling in classrooms. Amplify positive stories, talk about the good, inspire belief in the system. Because education isn't just a government job. It's a national mission. And when every citizen sees themselves as a stakeholder, change becomes unstoppable. So next time you hear someone say, India's education system is broken, ask them to look closer. They might just see the foundation of a future superpower taking shape. Brick by brick, mind by mind, dream by dream. Because education is the one investment that never fails. And India, we're all in. Let's keep building. Together, let's dive deeper. Because every time someone says, India's education system doesn't work, they're forgetting thousands of stories that prove the opposite. Stories of perseverance, grit, and dreams, born inside classrooms that crack walls, chalkboard instead of tablets, but teachers who lit fires of ambition. Let's talk about Dr. Devi Shetty. Born in Karnataka, educated in a regular school in Mangalore, he pursued medicine in India before becoming one of the most renowned cardiac surgeons in the world. He didn't go to an Ivy League university. He wasn't backed by a billion-dollar startup fund. Yet, he pioneered low-cost heart surgeries in India. He built Narayana Health, which performed some of the most affordable heart surgeries on earth, saving millions of lives. And where did it all start? In a modest school and a college in India. Then there's Rohini Nilekani, a literature student from St. Xavier's College, Mumbai. She used her education to write, to think, to give. Today, she's a leading philanthropist. Her foundation works in education, water conservation, and equity. Proof that Indian education doesn't just build careers, it builds conscience. And let's look at someone like E. Sridharan, the Metro Man of India. His schooling was simple. He studied engineering at the Government Engineering College, Kakinada, but his work? Revolutionary. From the Konkan Railway to the Delhi Metro, he transformed how Indians move. He did it without shortcuts, with discipline and with the values taught in Indian institutions. Precision, accountability, and service. Even the startup world is filled with these stories. Kunal Bal, the co-founder of Snapdeal, studied at Delhi Public School and later did a management course at Wharton. But his entrepreneurial drive started much earlier, encouraged by his Indian schooling system that taught math, debate, and discipline. Or Falguni Nair, the founder of Nykaa. She studied at Sydenham College and IIM Ahmedabad, both Indian institutions. And she built a beauty tech empire from scratch in her 50s, redefining what entrepreneurship looks like. Let's not forget rural innovators. Sonam Wangchuk, the inspiration behind Three Idiots, created low-cost innovations for Ladakhi schools, including ice stupas for water storage and solar power classrooms. He studied at a local school and later at NIT Srinagar. His learning wasn't about marks. It was about understanding, about building for people. And what about Anand Kumar, the man behind Super 30? He didn't just crack exams. He cracked the code to uplift others. From his humble home in Patna, he coached underprivileged students for IITG and changed hundreds of lives. Many of those students now work at NASA, Google, ISRO, and top engineering firms. All because one teacher believed in education, not profit. Here's something no one talks about. Indian schools, even with all their issues, create resilience. Waking up at 5 a.m. to catch a bus, sitting in a non-AC classroom for hours, carrying heavy bags, juggling tuition and chores, sometimes even helping in family businesses. These students learn more than just syllabus. They learn life. Think about Ritesh Raval, who coined the philosophy of Dudism in education, pushing for design thinking and real-world skills. His foundation teaches rural kids how to solve real-life problems using innovation, right from school age. This is an elite reform. It's grassroots revolution. Even in arts and sports, the Indian education system has shown results. Mithali Raj, former captain of the Indian women's cricket team, went to Keys High School for Girls in Hyderabad. Her early coaches were school teachers. Her journey wasn't luxurious, but her grit, shaped by discipline in Indian schooling, took her to world records. Or A.R. Rahman, who started at Padma Sheshadri Balbhavan in Chennai, then went to Trinity College of Music in London, but his musical foundation was laid right here in Indian schools and temples. Today, he's an Oscar winner. And it all began with a harmonium, a teacher, and a classroom. Let's go beyond individual names. Let's look at patterns. India produces the largest pool of STEM graduates in the world. We're not just the back office of the world anymore. We're designing the front end. India's edtech ecosystem is now one of the fastest growing globally. Startups like Byju's, Vedantu, White Hat Jr., and PhysicsWallah are giving both elite and remote students access to top-tier learning. And guess who created these platforms? People educated in the very system they're now upgrading. Let's not forget regional heroes. In Kerala, government schools are now attracting students away from private ones, thanks to technology upgrades, smart classrooms, and strong community support. In Tamil Nadu, government-run coaching centers help thousands of rural students crack NET and JEE. In Delhi, the transformation of government schools, through initiatives like Happiness Curriculum, has drawn attention from even global educators. These are not dreams. These are data-backed changes. Now let's flip the lens. Is this just about degrees? No. It's about mindsets. Indian schools, despite pressures, teach patience, respect, family values, multilingual skills. These are often dismissed, but in a global world, they're superpowers. Imagine a student from a Hindi medium school in Kanpur, navigating global business in English, managing teams across continents, and still remembering where he came from. That's Indian education. Local roots, global wings. So what's the takeaway? Yes, the system has flaws. Yes, it needs reform, but it is not a failure. It's an engine, one that, when fueled with hope, support, and belief, can take anyone anywhere. Because behind every CEO, scientist, artist, or entrepreneur, there's often a small-town teacher, a worn-out blackboard, a government exam, a first-generation dreamer. And that is the real face of Indian education. Not broken, just bold. Not limited, just underestimated. Not failing, just rising every single day.